Hello everybody, it's Miss Jessica and I'm here at EVPL McCullough and we are going to be doing a really fun simple science experiment that you can do at home. Now first thing first, you always want to make sure you check with your grown-up before you do anything like this at home. Okay, so today we're going to be making something really amazing. Now coming up on September 16th of 2020, it is National Play-Doh Day. So I wanted to make some really fun Play-Doh that you can use to celebrate on National Play-Doh Day. So we are going to be making some Kool-Aid Play-Doh. Now this will be really fun. And it might smell really good and it's gonna be a really fun color, but it might not taste very good, but it's still super fun to play with. Okay, so let's talk about what we're going to need to make our really amazing, awesome Kool-Aid Play-Doh. So first thing is that I have put something down on my desk. It's just a really fun plastic tablecloth that I can throw away or clean up really easily because I do tend to get a little messy and I want to make sure I can clean up pretty easily. The other thing I have is some paper towels. Just in case I do make a mess, I can use these to clean up really quickly. Okay, so let's talk about what ingredients we're going to need. So we are going to need some flour. So I've got my bag of flour. We're also going to need some salt. So I've got some salt with me. We're going to need some vegetable oil and some cream of tartar. Now this you can find in the spice aisle, and the spices are in alphabetical order, so you'll just look in the C's for cream of tartar, and that's where you'll find this. Now some of this experiment has kid steps that you can do, but there's also some grown-up steps. So one of the grown-up steps is to get some very warm water. So we will need some warm water. Now some other tools that I'm going to use is that I have a bowl here for mixing, and then I just grabbed a plastic fork and a plastic spoon to help with stirring. I've got a 1/2 cup measuring cup, and I've also got a 1/4 cup measuring cup. And I've also got a tablespoon, and we've also got a 1/2 teaspoon. And last but not least, we've got our Kool-Aid packets. Now here I have some grape, some cherry, this is what we're gonna be making today, some orange, and then also some blue. Now if you are wanting to make blue Play-Doh, you want to make sure to get the blue raspberry lemonade Kool-Aid. There are 2 different packages that are blue. One is fruit punch, the other is this one. And you can even see that Mr. Kool-Aid Man, he's got some blue Kool-Aid right there. So that's kind of your clue that this is the one that will be blue if you make it. The other one is red. So even though it's in a blue package, your Play-Doh will not be blue. Now, sometimes when you're making this, it doesn't turn out as bright and colorful as you might want it to be. So just in case, if you want, you can always pick up some food coloring to make that blue Play-Doh or your red Play-Doh even more colorful and bright. And I'll tell you when to add that in if you're wanting to. All right, so I've got all of my ingredients that I need and all of my tools to be a scientist today. So I'm gonna switch my camera angle here in just a moment so that you can see what I'm doing and we can talk about it as we're doing it. All right, so I'll be back in just a moment. All right, we're back and we are getting ready to start making our amazing Kool-Aid Play-Doh. Okay, so I'm gonna start by adding my flour. Now I need about a 1/2 cup of flour. So I'm gonna go ahead and scoop some out of my bag. And we're gonna add that to our bowl, just like that. Okay, the next thing I'm going to need is my salt. So this, we are going to need a 1/4 cup. So I'm gonna go ahead and pour that in there. into my bowl. Okay, our next thing that we need is our cream of tartar. And this, we need a tablespoon of this. So I'm gonna go ahead and pour that in there, just like this, and pour that into my bowl. Okay, now here is the most important ingredient, the Kool-Aid. So we're gonna be making some cherry Kool-Aid Play-Doh, so it's probably gonna turn out red. Okay, so this, you don't need the entire pack of this. This is about a teaspoon if you were to pour out all of this. And we actually only need about a half a teaspoon, so we don't need all of it. So I'm just going to pour what I need in here. And then I'm gonna pour that into my bowl just like that. All right, now to help with mixing this up, I'm actually gonna use a fork because this will help get all of that nice and mixed together. And that cherry Kool-Aid almost kind of looks purple in here, so that'll be interesting to see what that looks like when we start adding our water. Okay, make sure we get that nice and mixed up, just like that. All right, now I'm gonna put this over to the side for just a moment, and here is my grown-up step. So I have an electric tea kettle that you can see right here. And this heats up water so that it can get pretty warm. So I have got some pretty warm water in this. Now this is not so hot that I can't touch it, but it's still pretty warm. And that's why this is a grown-up step, because I don't want anyone to get hurt. So you can get your water as hot as boiling and then let it cool down for a little bit, which is what I did, or you can probably just turn your sink up to the hottest level and then that'll be okay too. All right, now, so for this, we need a half a cup of water. So I'm just going to use the same half cup that I used earlier. I'm going to pour this out. And then I'm just going to pour this into this glass so that you can see this. All right, now we're gonna add some oil to this water. Now, oil and water don't mix very well at all. So we're gonna pour this in here, and I'm gonna use my spoon, and I'm gonna try and stir it so that I know this doesn't mix very well, but it'll still kind of get mixed in there so that when I pour this into my flour mixture and my Kool-Aid mixture, it'll kind of get a little mixed in there. Now, if you are adding food coloring, so if you're trying to add some food coloring to make your Play-Doh a little bit more bright or a little bit more colorful, this is when you would do that step. So you would add your food coloring into your water here and mix that really, really well before you pour this into our Kool-Aid and flour mixture. Now, I'm just gonna leave mine as is, but that's when you would add your food coloring. Okay, so now we've got our flour mixture. Now we do not want to pour all of this in at once because we want to make sure we're not just dumping this in here so that it doesn't get really soupy and gross. We want to make sure that we are adding this pretty slowly so that we can see how it's mixing and if we need more or if we need less. And I'm just going to use my same spoon that I just used to mix my water and oil. So we're going to pour this in there. Oh my gosh, it's already turning red. Okay, so I've poured a little bit in there, so I'm going to mix this up. Okay, that definitely doesn't look right, even when I've mixed it, so we're definitely going to need some more water. Okay, so let's pour some more in there. Notice I still have some left in my cup. I'm going to mix this in there. Oh, that's starting to look a lot better than it did before. And as you can see, this is super bright red, so I did not need any food coloring for this one. Oh, that's starting to look really good. All right, I'm gonna add just a little tiny bit more. Oh, there we go, just a little bit. Just to get that last bit that's in there. Make sure that gets all mixed together. All right, that is looking amazing. Now here is the best part and the most fun. This is when we're going to take this out and start mixing it with our hands. Now this is where the messy part gets in. So I make sure that I wear something that I don't mind getting messy, and this is pretty much the fun part. Okay, so I take this out and I'm gonna start working it with my hands. Now, the more that you work with this, the better that it gets. So here we go, trying to mix this with our hands. Oh yeah, that's starting to look good. But, oh, I might have added a little bit too much water because you can see it's kind of sticking to my hands a little bit. Now, if that's happening, that's okay, that's not a big deal. What we can do is we can add just a little bit of flour. So I'm gonna get my scoop here, scoop out just a little bit of flour. I'm gonna put it right on there, just like that. And then now, start to work in that flour. Oh, might need a little bit more. There we go. Start to work that in. Oh, that's getting much better. It's not as sticky. Add a little bit more. See, this is why we add our water slowly, because I definitely put in just a little bit too much. But this is starting to look really, really good. And as you can see, my water glass still had water in it, and I didn't even add all of it. So that's why you want to be very careful when you're adding your water in, to do it slowly, to make sure that you're not putting too much in there, and then your Play-Doh does not turn into just goop and gross and ickiness. All right, so we've got some amazing cherry Kool-Aid Play-Doh. All right, so I'm gonna show you some other flavors that I made and then talk about some fun things that you can do with your Play-Doh. So I'll see you here in just a moment. All right, we're back, and here are some other amazing flavors that I made earlier today. So I have made some grape Kool-Aid Play-Doh. So that's what that looks like, and you can see it is very, very purpley. Okay, my other flavor that I made earlier today, we've got some orange. So I made some orange Kool-Aid Play-Doh to play with, so that's really fun. Now, we also made some blue raspberry. Now, as you can see, this did not turn out very blue. It's kind of almost like a light blue color or a teal color, so it kind of looks almost a little green. So I made 2 batches of this. So this is what it looks like without food coloring. And here's what it looks like with food coloring. And this was only about 5 drops. Now, if I had put in like 10 drops or even more than that, this would be really, really blue. So you can add food coloring, especially to this blue, so that it might look a little bit more bright and vibrant, because this one, it just kind of looks like a light blue. It's not as fun as this one, so you can see the difference. Now, the best part of making Play-Doh is playing with it. So I have all kinds of fun tools here to actually play with my Play-Doh. So I've got some cookie cutters. Oh, I've got these really fun things that if you push the Play-Doh through them, they make like little worm-looking things or noodle-looking things. So let's see what that looks like. Now, Play-Doh is an excellent, excellent thing to play with because it helps with fine motor skills of building up your muscles in your hands and getting that fine motor coordination. It's also great just to play with, to have some fun imagination as you're playing. You can do all kinds of neat things like making shapes or making letters with it, seeing if you can spell out different things. But let's see how my amazing Kool-Aid Play-Doh does. Whoa, look at all those goodness. So you can have so much fun playing with your Kool-Aid Play-Doh at home, and I hope that you are going to be amazing scientists and try this experiment. Thank you so much for joining me. Again, I'm Miss Jessica, and I'm here at EVPL McCullough. Don't forget to check out our YouTube page, EVPL Library. Like, subscribe, and as we post videos, you'll know and get to see them. We've got amazing story times and some other fun videos. And don't forget, you can always come and get our curbside service, or some of our locations are open, so you can stop in and see us and get some materials. But thank you again. I hope to see you soon. Bye. Whoops! I had already said goodbye, and then I realized I forgot something really, really important. What can you do to store your Play-Doh so that you can keep it and keep playing with it? The first thing you're going to want to do is to wrap it in saran wrap. So get that plastic wrap and just wrap it up so that it's nice and covered. And then if you put it in some type of container, like a Rubbermaid container or a Glad container, so a plastic container, and then you can put it in your refrigerator, and it should actually be good for a couple of months, but just might want to check on it before you play with it just to make sure it's still in good shape. One thing though is to make sure you wash your hands before you play with it so you don't get anything icky and gross in there, and it will stay good for a long time. So yes, you can keep your Play-Doh, just make sure that you store it. I can also use just sandwich bags. Make sure that you get all the air out of there, and then put it in a plastic container, stick it on your refrigerator, and then when you're ready to play with it, get it out, get going with your hands, and it'll get nice and soft and ready to play with again. So I'm so sorry I forgot that, but I wanted to make sure that I let you know that yes, you can play with this for a while. It will actually last about a couple of months. So thank you again for joining me, and I'll see you soon.